This demonstration will show you how to use the Get Document Reference step within a K2 workflow. This workflow step is helpful in any business process that requires a reusable reference to a document or group of documents throughout multiple steps of a K2 workflow. Consider the following examples where this workflow step may be of benefit. You could use it in a job search process to reference and manage resumes tied to a posted job listing for your organization. It may also be helpful in an engineering drawing management scenario where you have requirements to manage product drawing versions released to the plant floor technicians for a particular manufacturing process. Let's take a look at a small piece of a job posting resume review process that uses the Get Document Reference step. To add some context for this demonstration, I have a job posting process where management has asked for the ability to request copies of the latest resumes that have come in through the recruiting office for a particular job posting. I've set up their resume request workflow to be started manually from a job postings list in my Human Resources subsite under the Company Portal Site collection. When it runs, it needs to search a resumes document library and pull back captured resumes tied to the selected job posting that have not already been marked as reviewed. From there, it needs to attach those files to an email message and send them back to the requester. Finally, it needs to mark that group of resumes as reviewed so that the next request doesn't return them again. First off, let's look at this workflow before it's configured using the Get Document Reference workflow step. In the last step that uses the Update Document Properties wizard to set the reviewed status to yes, I could actually filter for the necessary documents by selecting the Browse to Document configuration in here on the Specify Document window. In going down this path, I can set the filter to be as granular of a result set of documents as I need. However, once I configure this setting, the reference to the group of documents will only be available inside this workflow step and will not be available to the Send Email step or any other steps we want to call later. The Get Document Reference workflow step helps us solve this dilemma by allowing us to create a reusable reference to a document or group of documents and enables it to be accessible by multiple steps throughout the workflow. Let's take a look at this wizard by getting it from the ribbon menu at the top of the page. It's located under the Documents group of wizards made available from the Groups menu to the left on the Workflow Steps tab. And when I drop Get Document Reference onto my design canvas, the first window that opens is called Specify Library. Here you can begin configuring the filter properties that allow the wizard to go out and look for the documents in question. The resume documents I need for this workflow live under a subsite called Human Resources that also lives under the Denalix Portal Site collection. So I'll ensure that the Site collection setting is set to the Portal Site and then drill down to the Resumes library and select it. The next window allows us to filter out the documents we want by using the library properties. In this example, I linked the resumes to a job posting using a lookup column in the resumes list with the posting title and ID columns. I'll filter by using the job postings item reference from the context browser and drop the ID from there into the job posting ID text box. And then I only want to return resumes that have not been marked as reviewed. So I'll also select the No option on the Reviewed property to get those out. Finally, enter in a meaningful reference name for this library, as it will appear in the other workflow steps as well as the context browser. I'll go ahead and call this Resume Documents Reference and finish it out. Now that we've created the reference object for the documents, we can add them as attachments to the Send Email step, so let's open that up now. You can get to the Attachments box by opening the twisty button next to the To text box on this window. Then open up the Item References from the context browser on the right in order to expose the new reference to the resume documents we just created. All you have to do to attach these documents is drag the document item from the reference over to the Attachments text box to the left. And then you can also use inline functions with the document reference if you have a requirement for that capability. To show this, I'll add a document count to the body of the message by dropping the count function in from the lists group of inline functions. We can drop in the name column from the resumes document reference, and the function will count how many resumes are attached to the message. And I'll finish that up, and the last thing I'll do is reconfigure the Update Document Properties wizard. So when I open that wizard up, I can now select Use a document that is referenced in this workflow instead of using the Browse to Document path. And then on the next window, I'll set the Reviewed column to Yes, since they have already been retrieved. That's pretty much it for this setup, so from here I'll close this wizard out and deploy the workflow. Once that completes, we can get to looking at this workflow in action. Before I show you how to do this, I'd like to show you the resumes library first. In here, I have a group of resumes available for review that are tied back to jobs listed in the job postings list. We'll work with the software engineer position since it has multiple resumes available. As you can see, 2 of them have yet to be reviewed. Now let's pretend that we're the hiring manager that would like to view the latest resumes that are available for this job by going back over to the job postings list. To kick off the resume request workflow, I'll select K2 Workflows from the Software Engineer Items context menu. And then inside here, I'll make sure to have the workflow that we just deployed selected in the drop-down and click Start in order to request the resumes to be delivered. This should run fairly quickly since I only expect 2 to come back. At this point, I'll flip over to my Outlook web view and the email with attachments should appear. In looking at this message, you can see that 2 of the resumes that were not reviewed came in as attachments with this message. Also notice that the document count value in the body of the message totaled up to 2. Now let's quickly take a look at the resumes document library to make sure that the 2 resumes we received are now marked as reviewed. Okay, good. The 2 documents here are marked as reviewed so that the hiring manager won't receive duplicate resumes every time a request is made. We would like to thank you for watching this demo on how to use the Get Document Reference wizard. We hope you have a better understanding of how and when you can use this workflow step within processes used by your organization.